Yo, yo. What's up, guys? All right. So, yes, we are live. A little earlier than usual. Got NFP to take care of. So, going to be live here. I'll be sharing my screen here in a little bit. Just letting the community know it's that time of the day. So, give me a second, guys. All right. Got that morning voice, coach. Nah, we ran. We already been up, running. No, sir. All right, cool. Guys, you definitely check out, dropped the video yesterday on a retreat we just had. We had last year, actually, in Puerto Rico. It was epic. We do these, we've done one or two a year, and there will be another one in the future here soon. But yeah, go check out that video. It's honestly super sick. Had such an amazing time with the Tradetopia community, and hope to see some of you guys there. But give me a sec here. I want to make sure everything's set in stone. And then Seth, dude, do you mind dropping a post in the syndicate that we are live? I know everyone already knows, but if you could help me out there, that would be perfect. All right. All right, guys, so let's get into it. Boom. All right, we're good to go. I don't think the stream will be lagging too much. So, guys, remember, go ahead, share the link. If anybody, anyone that wants to trade NFP live, have them plug in. We're about to see what indices are going to give us here. As you guys know, I trade futures and CFDs. And I'll give you guys basically both data feeds. So, I've been trading CFDs since 2015 and then futures since 2021, but more definitely like really focused on the future side of things since 2023. It's all the same concepts, technicals, and everything like that. And then you guys will more than likely be seeing me execute off of my main account that copies over to all of the Apex accounts. And then I'm trading TopStep. I'm trading all these other firms as well, on top of like audited account for DarwinX and all these other things. So if you guys have any questions, just let me know. With data feeds and CFDs and all these different prices, I'm more than happy to help you guys. And then, as always, we have our community here that we would love to have you a part of. Totally free. You have tons of value in here. I mean, like you have literally how to build the trading system from scratch, smart money from scratch. Everything is set here, set in stone. So you have everything right there for you guys. So we want you guys to get the most value. My mission is to give the absolute most value for free that could set you up for success. So, yeah, I love it. Para toda mi gente aquí, habla español, ¿qué me dicen? ¿Cómo están? ¿Cómo están las vibras por aquí? What's up, Mom? What's up, Greg? Morning. Seth, that video was badass, such a vibe. Thank you, bro. I want to get that video to get some exposure. We'll see. A little different. Bring a little life to trading community. Get outside of your screen. What's up, Omar, Flores, Lonzo, Stanley, Patrick, Justina, Amy, Brandon, Isaed. Morning. Love it. Wondering if it's possible for Euro USD to hit the mitigation setup further up, or if that reaction early is all we're getting. Honestly, it's more just kind of waiting and seeing, but we'll check it out. Miguel, hola, ¿qué tal, chicos? What's up, Corey? Fer, ¿cómo estás? ¿Aquí todo bien? ¿Qué me cuentas? ¿Qué más? Hola, ¿qué tal, José? Bueno, So we got NFP here in 6 minutes. If someone can get me up to date with the lag, that would be perfect, just so I have a good idea of how ahead I want to be, giving you guys some context and things like that. Okay, got that there. Got this here. Beautiful. All right, got a 1 to 2 R on US 30. 8 seconds. Okay, that's better. So, okay, so yesterday was absolute mayhem. I'm going to end up reviewing the trades that I took because I ended up taking actually a few trades. And it was sick. But let's take a look at what has happened now, what has transpired here with indices. Are we efficient? Yes. El mercado ya está eficiente. So we've now rebalanced all of these pullbacks. We've mitigated the lows. We've swept the highs, swept the lows, come back over here, become very efficient on the extremities of this. So let's go on to the 4 hour. Same thing here. If we're looking at the 4 hour structure, time and time again, we've become very, very effective. The only areas that I see we could maybe drop into would be at this January 2nd on Monday. We kind of set these lows and then ripped. So this should be the only area that I guess we kind of have still left behind, which would be going back to Monday. Saw a little push down before the rally. If we want to get into the details here, we can. So down here would be kind of the only other area that I think there's a possibility we get into. And I can get into smaller time frames here in a little bit, but for now, it's not like too necessary. ¿Qué más pues? And we can see that. But everything else, we've become very efficient. We're reacting really well. And we're also seeing just a very little amount of demand. Even though we do get back down here, actually relatively frequently since Trump and Elon started to go at it, it's very brief. So even now, I do think that entries somewhere over here, which I'll dive into, may have a much better opportunity. So I appreciate you guys liking the stream. I know a lot of you guys are subscribing. And if you're newer to the channel and you're like, dude, who the fuck is this guy? Then also let me know. Let me know if you're here for the first time. So what do we see now? All right, we got this 215 massive sweep. The market comes back up. We get the classic, the signature inducement of sellers with the typical break and retest here. And then we see the continuation. So as I'm looking at the details of a movement like this, right now, the last kind of big move we saw was this one. We saw a nice push down here, one last rip before the market rallied. So we get this move here. We have equal lows, so some liquidity. We rebalance this move over here. So everything you see is kind of like waves. Everything is moving. It's like if it aggressively moves in one direction, we're getting this efficiency. So there's not just an overwhelming amount of buyers. These positions are filled, and then the market is playing out nicely. So maybe we have a shot at positions over here with NFP in a few minutes. Outside of that, we want to take a look at what about on the other side? Can we be looking at sells? The market has dropped, came back down, dropped, came right back down. So do we have an environment where sells could make sense? Now we had a huge spike up here. And there's a lot of levels of resistance up in these zones. So I think the way that we saw the market react up here, to me, that shows mitigation, that we closed a lot of these buy positions and sellers came in. So I don't necessarily think we have, it's not really my priority. And then for sells, though, the big thing, in my opinion, is NASDAQ. NASDAQ, to me, looks better positioned for selling than Dow Jones does. If we're looking at NASDAQ here, of course, it swept these highs. So we see a lot of liquidity here. So all of these that were selling with this move to the upside, goodbye. And this lures in those buy stops. This triggers people in, and then everything comes crashing down. So this definitely enticed tons of buyers. Painful. we see the market work its way back down and drop all the way to this previous point of structure. So we end up working our way all the way down to here. You can see that, and let me just pull up NQ for a second. All the way down to here, this is NASDAQ. And in here, I mean, this to me looks like we just tapped this zone. So suddenly things become efficient again. And like I mentioned, similar to Dow, there still is this big wick down. This was on the open on Monday. Could we work our way over here? It's possible, especially considering the volatility and the back and forth that we're seeing between some of the biggest powers on the planet. I think it's very possible. But however, this to me isn't giving us lower lows, because as soon as we come down, we come right back up. So there just doesn't seem to be too much demand. Same thing on both ends though, up and back down. So we're kind of fighting to see what has the most demand, which gives us an opportunity to possibly trade both sides of this. So then with NFP, what I want to see is what's going to give us the highest probability of success. And at what aggression, like how aggressively are we going to be moving down or up? So we're going to see here the open of NFP. And I just want to see like which way we go. So let's go here. And remember, there's a little bit of a lag. So, this thing is pumping. All right, so we're seeing absolute skyrocketing from NASDAQ, from Dow Jones. Absolutely going hectic, which is fantastic. So we're seeing Dow now clear these highs, getting into this imbalance. Now we're witnessing NASDAQ do the same. So I think NASDAQ has a chance at either playing out of this zone here or coming up a little bit higher before it fully sells off. So NASDAQ right now, in my opinion, is going to be what gives you the best chance at sells. Looks like it filled in balance here, and so did Dow to play out of these last levels right over there. So just how we talked about, there's reversal potential at this zone. Things are happening really quickly, so positioning yourself obviously is going to take some time here. And as we're looking at the market here, which in my opinion, I think NASDAQ kind of gives us the better chances of reversals, there's a couple key zones. So first here we have this huge buy order that comes in over here, drives the market higher, and then causes a sell-off. So this clearly, there's a big buy positions that we can see reversals from. And then from there, you also have this last push right up here as well. So these could both be some key levels and opportunities for shorts. I probably wouldn't look to short NQ until it gets into more of an imbalance and maybe into the structure. But right now, we're witnessing a few things. So one thing that you guys are both going to see, and because we could just play out of the zone here, is the following. Now that this cleared yesterday's, not New York session highs, but it cleared some of the highs, could we be seeing a reversal out of the zone? Is this an area where we could see that typical shakeout where it clears some liquidity? We're starting to get the pullback, right? That break and retest type of vibe. If the market comes back up, could you be looking for a short with Dow? Or vice versa, could we be looking for a short? Because this cleared that zone over here. See, now we're coming up, coming back down. Is this qualified? Now, I feel much better about shorting indices if we clear that external liquidity. So, for example, yesterday on Dow, the highs are up here. These are the highs for the day, Thursday, right over here. So I would actually want to see Dow clear these highs and see where that positions. See where that positions Nasdaq. Because right now, yes, some people get stopped out with this kind of move for sure. But way more money gets liquidated up here rather than up here. So of course we just see this movement, and I think this could become very choppy throughout the day. There's a lot that can happen here. So I want to have an alert set over here and see how this goes. And then, because I think that would bring us up into this range where we could short and catch a good move on NQ. So these are options. These are just higher probability options in my opinion. And then outside of that, we saw with Nasdaq and Dow, here was the NFP low. So it actually wicks down. So we see the open here. The market pushes down and then rallies. So here you had the Nasdaq zone. So you have that here. And then we have Dow over here. Dow didn't make that same kind of spike down and then continuation. It just pumped. So that sets the low for Dow as well. So we didn't really see that same move. And if anything, we kind of actually end up getting these London session lows here that match some of these Asian session areas as well. So as of right now, just taking a good look at the market here, noticing that that Nasdaq has a really good, it's very bullish. Dow cleared these highs, actually losing a bit of momentum up here. Losing a bit of steam. So I want to see how we continue. I think for us to get kind of like a really good position, I think seeing this clear these highs over here would make the biggest difference. But one thing that I'm noticing here though with Dow is it is kind of just struggling to trade up in this range. Don't necessarily need to be in the market. Yes, it's volatile. Yes, it's moving quite a bit. So there is that kind of just desire, like, how can I take advantage of this movement? You woke up earlier maybe than usual so that you could do something here. Is there a chance that this wants to drop because now it cleared these highs? Yes, I think there's a decent chance. But is this the chance? And when I'm looking at one of these setups where the market is luring in, so right now, what did it do? Cleared out sellers. So it cleared out anyone selling Asian session, London session, and then partially into New York session. Okay, liquidated. Buy stops are triggered. Buy orders are lured in. Absolutely. Is there enough context and incentive for the market to drop from here? Well, it's efficient over here as well. It's kind of rebalancing all of this. Okay. But we already saw the market get back into here and then reject. So I don't think that more like big money really is going to come in here if we've already partially rebalanced in the past. I think if we're talking about probabilities, I'm okay with with waiting for other outcomes because, as I mentioned here, thinking about context, there is a lot of motive for a price to come up here. But does it need to happen now? And that's the biggest thing. Does it need to happen now? Because sometimes what we get is we'll get that pullback and then we'll go and target it later in the session. So it doesn't have to be now. But at the end of the day, what we do here is high probability and risk to reward. So I'd rather wait for that. In the meantime, what we can also do is we can make sure that we're just patient and have our contract size ready. So if the market gets to here, for example, what's that going to look like for us? If the market gets to the highest zone, what's that going to look like for a short? So I think understanding these levels will allow us to trade much better. Much better. So right now, I'd say if you want to get on top of things, start figuring out what your contract size would be, which is what I'm doing now. What would my contract size be when the market gets to these zones? All right. Cool. So let's see here. All right. Now we have New York Open, and obviously we are 40 minutes away from New York Open. So we got some time. We may not see that push until then. And today, as you all can see, what's on the schedule. So the scheduled volume, the scheduled volatility, it's nothing else with the dollar. Nothing else with the dollar. Nothing else on here. However, I think it's safe to say that we can expect a bit more conversation, a bit more updates between basically the Elon Trump warfare that we're seeing, digital warfare for different reasons. Because remember, all of these things are just the excuses. These are just the things that are leveraged that can shift fundamentals. So is what they're saying is the outcome. Oh, is this good for the economy? If it's bad for the economy, it's actually, that's not the point. The point is that now there's an excuse for things to go up or things to go down, for volume to come in, for orders to come in. It doesn't look strange. It's like, oh, of course, like the highest, the strongest powers are going, blow for blow. So cool. Pump the markets, drop the markets. So it's really interesting to see. It's like, oh, well, because Trump said this word, that's bullish for the economy. No, that's not how. That's not the point. Okay, so we're noticing Nasdaq pull up a little bit more, kind of casually working its way up. We already saw Dow reject these levels, so the next target for me this is just gonna break. And so we'll see kind of where we get. And if we're still within this structure and Nasdaq's up here, then I'm going to wait to short up here. So I have, both setups here in mind when looking at, how I want to go about potentially trading up in this zone. So yeah, man, we got this all set in stone over here. Now it's just giving it time. Let's see here. Do a little something. Oh, nice. So right now we're starting to see that drop with Nas. Okay, not bad. So it came up again just a little bit more before it's starting to lose momentum. So take a look at that here. Came up a bit more, right? Market squeezing. going above this zone as well before it's moving its way down. What I am honestly liking about this, and maybe this is what happens with New York Open, but the 1 minute setup isn't too bad here. We see the market clear some of this liquidity. It does. I mean, yeah, it also gets below here as well. So I mean, we get a buy out of this. We just might see a buy play out of this, and that may actually. But I would only take buy as well if we get below these lows. But this still requires some time. Entonces, chicos, básicamente lo que estoy esperando es quiero ver Dow Jones sacar estos altos por aquí. Quiero ver esto aquí encima, eliminar liquidez para dispararle a el índice que está aquí atrasado. Tenemos la divergencia. Si el mercado llega a esta área con Nasdaq, pero todavía estamos por dentro de esta zona, no creo que no dispararía. Tendría que ver Dow Jones encima de este último alto, eliminando la liquidez de ayer para poder posicionarme en ventas con Nasdaq. And then let's just do a quick look at S&P. S&P, similar, already in this imbalance. Looks like it could go into this one as well, maybe before we get another reversal. I wouldn't say I'm going to execute this, but it is getting closer and closer. All right, maybe we're going for it. And I'm curious, I was thinking, like, I wonder if we end up getting into these zones by, like, before New York Open, if we're going to get there early. Because obviously the bigger excuse is New York Open, but we might just tag into these areas before that even happens, before we even get there. So that could be fun. Okay. All this is set in stone. All right, so I'm going to have a few alerts here set. All right, now let's pull up a couple things here. I know the majors, I actually haven't taken a look too much at the majors. But let's see what's good. Bitcoin, I know, is rallying. Like I just noticed before we went live. I'm sure it's even higher now. Okay, it didn't go too crazy with NFP, actually, not compared to these other ones. They like came up and then actually came back down. So take a look at this. I mean, I think this definitely scared tons of buyers, and we had this marked up. Nance especially had this here, but she went over this on in the community, right? She did a Zoom and she broke this down super well. So we got a sweep below all of these lows, going back to some of this May 8th price action. So tons of liquidity gone. In my opinion, this this takes out so many lures and sellers, and then this immediately reverses. I do not think many were expecting a move like this at all. I do not think this was an under. Most people expected this. This to me proves that there's very little demand below 10, really 104. Even though we get there, it gets eaten back up quick, real quick. So same thing with Sol, same thing with ETH. Yeah. So I think that is also a good indication with indices. We're seeing something very similar where these things just get eaten up. All right. So let's take a look at the majors here. Yesterday I was like, there is a chance that the market here actually, like Australia, needed to just come in between these zones and then play out, and it did. If you look at the futures, AUD USD, had I not been as tight with my stop, and I actually played it on the outside of the structure, we would have survived this trade. Because the stop goes above the high. So we actually survived this. I had my stop within this little pullback right there. But this one ends up playing out anyways. And then this is working its way down. But I thought that was interesting. Now, with that being said, what does NFP do for majors? How does this, kind of switch things up overall? I can go ahead and just delete all this now. AUD/USD just sweeps these lows, so there's tons of liquidity here. So if anybody had any shorts, got to work this down. At the moment, I'm not really seeing too many setups active. Maybe something ends up playing out here, but nothing at the moment that I'm like, oh yeah, this is clearly textbook play. At least not with Australian. If we take a look at NZD/USD, nice spike up before the market kind of slowly starts to work its way down. We may get a better position here on NZD/USD. So we haven't taken anything here, but we see a spike up and then the drop. If we continue to get some more demand, then we might be seeing NZD/USD for shorts. So, yesterday when we get this momentum before New York Open, we start to see this pump. And I think here's where we could get a short in the future. Would love to see if we can get some further confirmations. So if we keep trading down here, then I am interested in a sell here. However, before any for sure conclusions, we like to take a look at what's Euro look like, what's GBP/USD look like. And Euro here ends up playing into this zone. Futures looks better, in my opinion. Well, it's just more precise. So if we take a look at Euro futures, we notice this setup that we talked about yesterday played out wonderfully. Like it missed by a tick or something, but I mean, this is a mitigation. This is, I think, very abundantly clear. And if we continue to see the market trade down here and we get a solid confirmation for demand, no way, my alarm's going off. My bad, bro. Give me 1 second, folks. All right, so the rogue alarm. All right, so if we can see the demand over here, clear the high. This looks like it's setting up for distribution, like nicely, right there. I just want more proof. I want proof. So right now, we got below these lows. Yesterday's London session lows, we get below and into Wednesday's New York imbalance right over there. So if we continue to trade down here, then yeah, this could be fantastic. So this may end up trading like this, whatever, sideways. Maybe we go lower. And then for next week, we might just get an opportunity to short somewhere in here and then see what this looks like. Zooming out here a little bit more. And I had these, the interesting thing is I've had these levels here for like 5 or 6 weeks. 5 or 6 weeks with this. So was waiting for the market to potentially play out of the zone. It missed by like a point or two for me. And it is what it is. From here, though, we definitely have areas where the market can reject because you get a huge move right there. So we have a massive position there. Could definitely see the market reject this at some point. So if we were to get into sells, this would be an exit for me. No doubt. No doubt about it. And then lastly, let me pull up GBP USD as well to just like compare it with the euro. We've seen, the sweep up here take out significant imbalance. We are in prices that we haven't been at in a very long time. So we saw price get back up into this February 2022 range. These are areas where we could be looking at, long-term reversals. So just like euro here, GBP USD picks up a lot of money. We see massive orders drive price way up here. So big buy positions, and then being able to see a sell from somewhere in here is definitely a possibility. So if I'm looking to short majors, XXX USD, I'm paying attention to, okay, is it going to be GU? Is it going to be Euro? Could it be NZD? Or is it going to be the Australian? And at the moment, if I'm, just kind of taking a look at all of this, I kind of feel like GBP USD is giving us the best options. So we'll see. What I now want to give some perspective with is, let's take another look at indices. We're seeing, the Dow here, just kind of ranging, poked above right here just recently. Meanwhile, we're noticing a little bit of a different price action with NASDAQ. NASDAQ here clearing some highs again. So some sideways movement, some consolidation. Market pulls up back into this range. I do think this is starting to, look, a resistance. We're starting to get some engulfings, blah, blah, blah. I think this is meant to lure in sellers right now. I don't necessarily have confirmations to get into anything. So if this were to crash, it is what it is. I wouldn't be seeking to be in there. Like I mentioned, I want to see sells once we see Dow clear yesterday's highs. That's when things to me get a lot more interesting. I think that's when we have way higher probability opportunities for sure. Let me look at the chat. I'm just ignoring you guys. I'm just being what am I doing here, man? What are you guys? What's up? Is there a reason why you look at minis versus normal futures version? I have minis pulled up. Well, I have micros pulled up because I can just trade them faster. So actually, that's a really good point because price actions going to look more precise here, and I do have to remember that. There you go. So you're looking at it here. These should look very similar. NQ and MNQ. Every once in a while, you see some wicks bigger or smaller. So for example, here though, everything should look relatively identical. Wait, one sec. On the NFP, NQ does not have the same. Oh, okay. So let me take a look at that because that is a good point. And this is big because this happens. And I've made that mistake, and I'm sure some of you guys have done the same thing. But when you look at NQ and you look at MNQ, so this is the more precise price action. We don't see that same wick, and that is very important because it's a massive difference. So what's more precise is not this. It's this. Here's where there is the most liquidity. So for example, the reason that we see this spike down with micros is because there is actually less liquidity available. So orders slip through. Same thing here. So then a buy position here is not even worth considering. Same thing here if we consider this with MYM and YM. So yes, at the end of the day, the most precise price action you're going to get. And thank you guys for the reminder. I mean, I am also just human. So double checking these things. There's room for error. That's the thing about trading. Like, so many data feeds, so many charts. It's easy to just neglect. Oh, like I'm just looking at here because here's where I'm trading. Yeah. Said incline bench 250 this morning. Random but dope. Sick. Congrats. Yeah. No, hey, thanks for the heads up, guys. I hadn't even double checked it, but I have it plugged in. I have what's it called, the micros, just so that I can quickly execute something if I'm going to do it on here. But I also have this set up so I can just kind of click through real quick. So I just have to drop down and then I'll pull up where I would execute. But yeah. So yeah, thanks for the reminder, because managing so many thoughts and juggling the stream, the trading, the multiple accounts, there's a lot going on. 250 is no joke on incline. That's a fact. Sol Dolce, what's good? Top of NFP, Tradetopia. What's up, Daniel? All right, guys. You guys have any setups you want me to look at? As we're waiting here, we're about 30 minutes out from New York Open. You guys are up bright and early. Y'all here after it. Gold. Okay. Also, Mike, that's the same thing for the higher NQ setup. What's the same thing? The higher NQ setup. I mean, this definitely has... I mean, you see definitely buy orders come in here. And you see similar right over here. NQ orders do the same thing. Yeah, who got a workout in this morning? Who went for a run? Who got the gym in? Who's moving the body? Come on now. You got a high performance on all levels. Mind, body, spirit. Yeah, well, I mean, with futures, this is like literally the data feed, the actual data feed. So I want to see if gold can hold below for sells. Okay, yeah, let's take a look at it. So right now we're seeing Dow is starting to push a little bit here. I wonder if we'll get above these highs before New York Open. That would be fun. Okay. Yeah, let's take a look at metals. I see everyone's starting to wake up now. The usual people that are plugging in at this time, everyone's like, oh, like I'm seeing like an uptick here in viewers. So everyone's like, oh shit, he's been live for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Okay, yeah, let's see metals here. We'll look at gold versus silver. All right. So we had the sell-off here with gold before it rips. And then we had the sweep, these big buy positions before it all comes down. So now we're starting to get... I wonder if we actually already mitigated. So we saw the beginning, the market start to push up to here. You see the market sell off one more time. Lure, and this is a 15-minute push down. Then we see the market continue once again before we see this aggressive drop. Market kind of trades down, comes back up, trades down again. I could see us come back into this range in short. I can see it. I think we've mitigated these order blocks right there, which caused this drop. But I totally see the play right here as well. So I can definitely see that. Ah, look at that. NQ starting to get some movement. So let me pull this up real quick. NQ starting to make a little like 1 minute distribution kind of. Pulled up again, lost momentum. Cute. Some cute movement. Dow here as well, making higher highs. While NQ is not. So you're seeing Dow go and make higher highs on, obviously it's the 1 minute. There's I mean liquidity here as well. That's building up. And then you have NQ on the other hand that did not do that. It actually made lower highs. Kind of cleared some of this, made its way down, while Dow did the opposite. Not the opposite, but Dow went and cleared the highs before making a move here. So it's interesting. I wonder if we keep going lower, and then we might even get a little distro. But right now, not going to force any trades here. Just speculating. Just a little speculation. So gold. Gold definitely, we could see buys. We could see sells. I'm curious about silver as well. See what this looks like here. So I'm gonna just add GCQ into this right over there, just so we can have the contract right here pulled up. Then we got silver. Silver has been pushing pretty well. Give me a bit. Let's make sure we got the right contract here. You see over here, this was March or February 27th, goes into March or May 29th, which will lead us to July. So at the moment, pull up the current contract. And we did get a rejection originally from the zone. Now we're going wild, right? Look at that. Silver, ATHs. Sheesh. I think in the future, we'll see a pretty significant pullback that could get us back into like the 30s. And I wonder if we get there by around the winter. So I think we're going to start peaking with metals, maybe within the next couple months, maybe the next couple weeks. And then we can get a nice long as quarter four rolls through, usually towards the end of quarter four. But yeah, silver doesn't really give us any opportunities. It's actually pretty bullish versus something like gold that's been already showing us signs that it's losing significant momentum. So yeah, I think I would definitely rather take a short on gold, play into where we've seen this last point of supply. Looks like we can get a pretty decent short out of this range. Yeah, good looks on gold. Gonna place an alert here and see what the market can show us. Now that we've been trading below this low, it's kind of giving better confirmation for a short there. All right, indices still relatively choppy. Dow yet to take on these highs. I think we're gonna get New York Open to clear the highs, and then set up Dow. That's what at least high probability looks much significantly better in my opinion. That gives time. Did some shadow boxing for like 10 minutes. Nice. Got rained out, so no work. Thunder lost last night. Yeah, it was like some crazy comeback, right? Buenos dias. What's up, Steven? USD JPY taking some liquidity. Let's go check it out. "30-second handstand hold." I haven't done a handstand hold in like 8 years. 7 years. That's sick. That's what's up. I'm gonna see if I can do those still. All right. So yeah, USD JPY pumping. Oh, hello. Had a little area of interest over here. I would like to see a USD JPY reach over here as well. Somewhere over here I think looks very nice. Very nice. Okay. I mean, folks, look at this. Got the move to the upside. We kind of called it. Assuming it's going to get all the way up to here. I guess we don't know that for sure, but can I actually predict the future? Sometimes it's not bad. Sometimes we're strangely close, like multiple levels, step by step by step. Oh, doing calisthenics at 6'5", dude, that's nuts. So we got the rejection out of here. Did anyone hold this? This pullback was pretty tough to stay alive in, though. It kind of just mitigated this and then ripped again. So I think getting into this zone could look quality for the short. Here, let's just zoom out a little bit. It looks like, for me, it looks like we still have tons of liquidity down here. So this short, I still think, brings us further down. So I think this is going to push us finally to these unmitigated areas still. And, I haven't really noticed, but we've been trading the yen really, really well. The setups have been happening. I've actually missed, I would say, almost all of these. Just haven't been in front of the screen or for whatever reasons, which sucks. But, yeah, I mean, this is looking solid. Cool. Yeah, I like the short from here. What about USD-CHF? Where's it looking? USD-CHF is actually lagging behind a little bit more. Looks decent. Decent over here. Interesting. Let's see what 6S looks like. One sec. All right, hold on. Let me just pull this up real quick. Here we go. Okay, here we go. I had a feeling we were seeing a little chaos here. So it looks like Dow is about ready to clear these highs before we're even seeing New York open. So if we get Dow to clear this up here, and that gives us our last push for NASDAQ, it's game time at that point. So let me set this up here. All right. Setting up a couple things so I can be ready since I'm managing multiple things here. Cool. So yeah, once we get above into this and kind of seeing how it clears liquidity, and I can zoom out even a little bit here, then what this will do is it's going to put me into a market execution environment for NASDAQ. So right now we're just poking above. Seeing that happen this way. NASDAQ taking its sweet time. It's not really breaking above too aggressively. This just barely got above this range, so I think we're still going to push a little bit further. At least we should. I would expect it to. And NASDAQ clearing this liquidity, at least like these highs that it's made so far, I would imagine it would push to get beyond this these 1230 highs, because this has now allowed for about 45 minutes worth of liquidity. So maybe going into this next 15-minute candle, we get that next push into this range before we see a short. All right, so I'm gonna place another alert here if we crack these highs again. With 6S, this looks significantly different. This move here, by the way. So yeah, USD CHF, yen futures, looking solid. And then, all right, so starting to see NASDAQ push. Let's see, it looks like we're about to crack above into this zone. And then start to rebalance. In anywhere in here really is where I think we have a valid short for NQ. Nice. So we're seeing Dow start to clear those highs. NQ quite not at the zone I would want to be in. But it is approaching. We're getting there. So I'm going to stay patient. Let the market flow a bit more before opening up any positions. Let's see. Okay, it was pretty light, this move up here. I mean, basically created more liquidity. So I don't think we're quite done pushing up yet. I think we have more of a zone that we can see. And something I want to pull up then here is the following. And now I want us to get a macro perspective on this as well. So we have seen this so far. The last time we saw NASDAQ was up into this range. Now these highs played into, some sort of level over here. And cool. Can we clear Thursday's New York session highs? For sure. But what about these though? What about the 28th? Is there a reason or motive for this to push this far out? It's possible. It's not that it doesn't require that much movement. So it just getting above this high would be another 25 points, which is like nothing. And I think clearing this high is what's going to position this NASDAQ short here. So it looks like we're going to take out last week's highs as well, and then that would set up shorts for NAS. At least that's how I'm seeing it. Let's see. We're about 11 minutes out from New York Open. Patience has been a very important requirement for this one. Looking at how the market pumped from here, I didn't really have any setups in order to take a buy on NFP. So, it is what it is. Like, had we had something, then cool, maybe. But like, I just didn't really have a position to take anything there. So, which is fine with me, not a big deal. And then so I'm gonna be shorting in here. You guys will see me pull the trigger at some point. So, and then you can also hotkey this. So Shift S is also another way to open up a position here as well. You can see now we're about 13, 14, 15 points out from clearing the highs. With 10 minutes left here, I wonder if we clear, if we get like a New York Open push, and then we work our way down to liquidity. So like we end up just kind of clearing out all of these, like just all this like London session volume. So this is all just like London session choppiness, and we target that, and then we rip again. So I could kind of see something like that happening here. At least playing into the imbalance for NFP, I think is clutch. All right, so we just tapped the high. Cool, and it's happening 9 minutes before, so we just tapped it. Didn't quite clear it yet. Now we're starting to clear it through, break through in there. And then NQ really taking its time into these positions. So I think I'm going to take a position with NASDAQ as it kind of goes a little bit higher. Here's where we see the beginning of the move to the upside before everything drops. It's in the imbalance, so is there a chance that this starts to drop sooner? That's maybe, but I don't want to risk reward this big. So let me actually zoom in for you guys here, so you can kind of see the difference. Here's where we see the big money come in. There's a little order block right there, tiny little order block, some more imbalance. So honestly, I think right over here is where good entries can start to unfold. It's like right there when it clears this thing. If you want to play right out of the open, maybe have a position, a contract in there just to catch something, then totally understand what that risk reward would look like for you. I'm going to have it go just above this little order block and get into the imbalance. That may cause would I miss the move? We'll see. But from here, I think we just tapped the zone, it looks like right there. It's just starting to play out of this. We can just start to see it play out of the order block. And then now we're starting to see Dow kind of peak here, starting to drop a little bit. So I wonder if it's going to be it just right off the open and then just melt. For now, whoa. Here we go. Maybe we get a little bit of this dip, and then we get another push with the New York Open. Or we just kind of start moving up here shortly. So playing out of this order block, this was like a tiny, I don't know, like 10-point move, maybe 13, something like that. So could we see something similar here? Maybe. See a little drop. Right now it's dropped about almost the size of that order block. And then from there, I think we could still get maybe another continuation and then the drop. To give you guys some perspective as well, we've officially, all right, we cleared those highs here. Cleared the highs on Dow for last week as well, May 28th, and then playing into this zone. So great awareness on overall structure. We didn't short just because we got above the high. We didn't short just because we got here. I'm not looking to trade necessarily Dow. I want to trade NQ that's been lagging behind. And so if there is very little marginal difference in where that entry can be, then, cool, take the trade out of the open. I'm going to take it a little bit higher, though, and get the risk reward that I want. So, but before that even triggers, I am going to set buy stops up here so that I could, like if I take a quick trade, then it would quickly, I would have my stop in place. Sometimes you get a lot of volatility, so you want to take a quick entry. So, but at the end of the day, you want to place your stop before your entry so that you're protected. So right now we're seeing a decent rejection from that zone. I wouldn't be surprised if we're just kind of going to do this and then go up again. We're 5 minutes away from New York Open, so getting another push above for New York Open, in my opinion, makes sense. Now, if this keeps just melting right now, then that was the move, right? But as of now, there's more than enough room. So, for example, this push here was like about 60 points. So I would need to see NASDAQ drop basically 60 points to consider this the mitigation, the exchange from buyers to sellers. What are you guys? Did you guys already get in? Are you not going to trade it? What are your thoughts? It's playing out of the zone pretty well. Saludos Argentina, what's good? ¿Cómo están? And S&P. S&P usually trades somewhere in between NASDAQ and Dow. So I think I'd rather short NASDAQ since we have S&P trading already a little bit higher. It's a bit more bullish. You know what? I am noticing that. It came right into the zone. Nice. It's starting to reject from there. Clean. That's a sniper entry if it doesn't come back for open. Maybe. I'm going to wait for it to go a little higher too. Cool. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if it plays out in our favor. We're 3 minutes out from New York Open, folks. All right. Not in. Waiting for market open. What's up? Is that Giovanni? What's good, bro? How are you? These, I need to disconnect these. They're like attached to each other and it's annoying. Every time I click anything, it'll just go there. The sell zone. So basically here we saw big buy orders. So when the market pumps like this and then drops, we had two of them. So the one up here and the one over here. So it clears the highs, then drops. Same thing here. Big buy orders come in before everything drops. So I'm interpreting this as, for example, buy orders that came in to drop. So if the market comes back to the zone, and especially because Dow is extremely much more bullish, we could see the exchange from these buy positions now into sell positions. So that's kind of the vision behind this setup specifically. So, okay, looks like I mentioned, kind of played out of this little order block first. We saw the drop, you know, I think it was what, like 20 points or something like that. Looks like it's picking up again, about less than 90 seconds away. Remember, my stream is about 8 to 10 second lag right now, it looks like. So if when the market opens or before it opens, look at your charts, look at your things. You can just listen to me, but look at yours, because it's going to be like, it could be very quick. It could be very quick. So make sure you're looking at your own stuff. And what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna place a sell limit here, because if it happens quick, I'd rather just have a trigger. And then I actually have room for risk. If it goes up a bit higher, then I can actually take another one. And then yeah, so if you guys want to do something like that, feel free.
Order submitted.
30 seconds out, folks. 30 seconds out. Let's see how it goes. It's required a lot of patience. A lot of patience. So we'll see. I think either way, whatever happens, like, it's what we're prepared for. So we're ready for all outcomes, all possibilities here. All right, let's see. Oh my God. We saw Dow drop aggressive. NASDAQ, not so much. Okay. Let's see if Dow makes another move. It looks like NQ might. All right. Remember, Dow Jones already cleared. This already cleared the highs. Like that, those 4-hour highs. Yes, last week's highs. So it looks like they're both pushing bullish. NQ trading in here. Already starting to lose a little bit of steam. This literally just tapped it. This is showing signs that it might want to just drop. I'm going to keep my composure here. I'm going to just let it do its thing. If it were to drop from here, then there's always going to be another trade. So not a big deal. We're seeing Dow push higher again. There it goes. All right, fantastic. That's taking now NASDAQ a little bit higher. So just cleared these highs briefly. Let's see if we get above this order block, and then this can trigger us in. If you want to get a position here now, then obviously feel free. It looks like it's starting to lose a little bit of momentum there. So I'm looking at this here. Whoa. Looking at this here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a position right in here. And then if it does go higher, and this, because this fits my risk profile, if it does go higher, then that's fine. I was just starting to see some weakness there, and it looks like we're starting to reject really well. Wow. So obviously that was a real-time play. Something I would say maybe experience, just kind of seeing the behavior like that. Right now we've seen this reject about 40 points. I want this to go a bit more before we could say like, oh yeah, this is a mitigation. Cool, GG. Seeing Dow still holding up pretty well. All right. So far, so good. And this is with Dow still ripping. So if we see Dow maybe start to pull back, I wonder if that's going to just help NASDAQ really, really work its way in. Now going into the 1 minute with NQ here. Let's see. If this were to go higher again, like I mentioned, technically it would be positioned for another entry, and then I would just add a stop here. But look at this, man. Dow is ripping, and NQ is unbothered. Dow ripping, NQ is like, sup? Like, does not care whatsoever. Dow Jones playing way up here. NQ, big chillin'. Impressive. And what that shows me, though, is that if we do get back into, like, if at any point Dow wants to just chill out, now I can pull up the daily here. This is now getting over to these key levels. What I'm curious, because now it's kind of like an inverse price action. So I'm curious here if Dow coming down is going to push NASDAQ up, or if Dow coming down is just gonna give this a chance, and then it's gonna really melt. So at the time, I'm almost at the point here where I would move my stop to break even. We're about 50 points that it's dropped from the high here post New York Open. So good to see that. See if we get this to push a little bit further. But it's moving along nicely. You know what I mean? Like, this is chopping up. There's still liquidity from after this NFP. There's still imbalance in here. And as it was mentioned, between NQ and MNQ, there is no liquidity spike. This is just sideways movement liquidity here. So look, now Dow is pushing down, and NQ is literally starting to go up. Silly. Very silly. So ranging, I am still kind of keeping this relatively similar. I can go back and kind of double check just my numbers and make sure that I have things evened out. So if we want to look at, for example, just like the movement from the past, see how things have moved, see how things are going, then you'll notice here here's where we got the market to work its way higher. Here's where we have that order block. So like these little OB is kind of where it played out of, and then started to make the move to the upside. This here was actually right over there. Came up into the zone. So we saw something like this, really. So it was a decent move to the upside. Right up into here, about 57 points. Let's go to the present. We're seeing a lot of choppiness still, kind of some sideways movement. Seeing how the market dropped already into this zone, about 52, 51 points. I think this is not showing me tons of volume. Yeah, it's not showing me tons of volume so far. So I think what I want to do, like, yeah, we got a little bit of rejection there. Here. I still think, yeah, we can activate another play over here. So I'm going to let this ride and see kind of what we get. See if it triggers this entry that's a little bit higher. See if it takes out that New York Open again and then drops. because now we're back in that zone. All right, let's see here. There we go. All right, back up in the zone. Here's where we have some possibility for a second entry somewhere over here. I can see that happening. Okay, so seeing some good movement there. Market's pushing up. It's in an area where, as mentioned, I said, yeah, I think we can see a drop from here. I wonder if now that's enough to see everything come down. This was just shy of mitigation for me. If I really wanted to be conservative, could have just moved stop to break even. But I kind of wanted to give this a chance to get back into up into this imbalance and maybe play out of this structure. And then worst case scenario, we get stopped out over here. Then yeah, it wouldn't really be an issue. So look, I think Dow might clear these highs again one last time. Let's see if that pushes this up into the entry. That's unfortunate if it misses like that. Just shy. All right, so Dow clearing. Meanwhile, NASDAQ still holding the fort. Wow. This is actually really impressive. The sheer power, like the bullishness of Dow Jones right now is absolutely epic. All right, let's see if this triggers me in. I'm very close now. At this point, I'm just going to go ahead and take the entry. Cancel that. And then cancel this. And then set this up there. 1 sec. Go here. Yeah. Cool. So there is a chance, and also like I am totally, if this keeps pushing and it's just not going to hold, it's not going to give the reversal, then I'm down for the cause up here anyways. So, and actually, like as I'm thinking this right now, I'm thinking that actually might be what happens right now. Okay. So I think this actually would have activated my position. Looking at where we're at with Dow, we've now cleared this from Tuesday, May 20th, and we're trading within this. So I think rejecting this imbalance, I can definitely see happen over here before we clear this high. So at some point, can we clear this high? Definitely. But can we see a reversal from this point of this last point of supply? Also, think that's a big possibility. Okay, NQ now would have hit the zone that I originally had. So could I have been more patient? For sure. For sure. The good thing is my risk exposure is exactly how I wanted it to be for this. So that's totally fine. All right. It's actually really, and I know we were making, and this is the power of like divergence and understanding of the correlations is, imagine you shorted Dow. Like this would have obliterated you. Like it just absolutely just crushed positions. So yeah, Yeah. Now it would have been nice to be in Dow Jones bias, right?
Order
Would have been real
submitted.
nice. But I mean, I've looked at this and I just my setup, at least like the way I trade, just wouldn't have put me into the market. So as much as I would have loved to participate here, there's really no situation in which I would have traded this. Like buying at 6 a.m. Yeah, we had the sell off, but like it just, I would have expected a lower entry. So yeah, no, not really. There's kind of no scenario in which that's the case, at least for me. Maybe for some of you guys, but not for your boy. All right, so we still have about here, give or take a little under, like right around 30 points for a stop here. Now 20. So my question for you guys is, anyone here getting a little, you start to get a little nervous, like, oh man, is this going to hold? Am I going to get stopped out? Was this even worth it? Etc. And if that is how you're thinking right now, then you can understand or start to position yourself like, okay, what could I have done differently? Or if you're noticing certain emotions right now, okay, well, when I've felt like this before, what has that led to? So take the time right now to kind of have whatever composure you need. And let's say that your risk right now is way more than you would have wanted to. Then, okay, do I need to make this type of decision again? No. Perfect. All right, let me learn. Let me understand the cost of this certain decision making. And I think that goes a really long way. So, yeah. And this is supposed to be actually right here. All right, Dow about to clear the high. That may lead us to here. So, deep pullback so far. Will we survive? The trading survivor right now. Playing into this zone. I'm in like disbelief that this is how little NASDAQ has moved. You know what I mean? Like we just saw, for example, within the last, let's see, we've seen 500 points out of Dow, and we've only seen like 188 out of NQ. Like that's mind blowing to me. Absolutely mind blowing. Yeah. All right, let's see. The slow movement here. If at any point Dow wants to just, turn things around, I'm very much open to it. As soon as I said it, it's like, no, we're going to keep pushing. The funny thing would be if it stops us out and then it doesn't get to this zone and it just rejects within this zone. That would be very sad. As of now, we have officially seen the Dow went ahead and cleared all the way up into here, man. I think this actually froze. That one froze. All right, so scratch that. But yeah, we saw Dow clear the highs for like last month. All right, starting to lose a little bit of momentum. All right, maybe we'll survive. Maybe we'll finally survive. The downside to this is, at least how my entries are, let's say this fully mitigates, doesn't really give me the greatest positioning here. So yeah, I would reduce my risk if we work our way all the way down, but it's not very significant. I would honestly just let this run through if that's going to be the case. Let's say we do get, massive pullbacks or whatever. Yeah, I would just kind of let this run through, tighten my stop a little bit, still give it some space though, either way. So yeah, we'll see. Dow finally giving a little bit. All right, starting to get a little bit of a wick here. Decent. All right, let's see what this. Oh, the 5 minute starting to lose some momentum. Not necessarily mean we're out of the clear, but if you did take some higher entries a little bit higher, you were just more patient than I was, then could be going better in your favor. The original entry that I wanted actually was right here. Let's see what this is looking like on the 5 minute for Dow. Oh, so Dow's 5 minute candle is actually significantly more bearish. It's just more, the volatility is just definitely more extreme overall. So I don't know. NQ, we'll see. We'll see what it does. I'm really like, not that it really matters if I believe or not that this is going to play out, but price action just isn't really showing too many signs that this could work out. I think we're going to end up just clearing these and then going up higher. Like, look at Dow. Dow now is losing momentum, and NASDAQ doesn't give a fuck. And it's like, okay. And so yeah, I'm basically almost at a place where I'm like, all right, cool. We get into this zone. Short a little bit. All right, oil got about a 15 point range right now. What I wouldn't want to do is like move my stop or anything. Then it can get much worse. So that's not something I would do. I would just kind of let this. This trade is this trade for a reason. How about this? I just want to give myself that just in case we get a little right on the money. Let me see the chat. On the bright side, and this is how I like to think, just like on the bright side, you know, the shorts were at least on the right indice. So technically we had just more of a sound approach with this. And then it wasn't one of those things where you short Dow again and again and again and you're just getting obliterated the whole way through. All right, here we go. Was about to sell Dow, but Nas just broke structure and is pushing higher. Okay. Oh, I'm sure that was a while back. Oil sell up, and sell zone, so that might push Nas down. That would be nice. If it does hit that stop loss, would you sell in the box above? Yes, Tashi. Nas got into my sell zone. I got in early. Oil is dropping. So you think oil will drop NASDAQ? Why? Why would that happen? Or like what are those, what's that correlation? Walk me through that. I just want to understand your perspective. Negative Trump news drop. What, that he's a pedophile? What, Epstein-related activities? I wonder, I'm curious to see if, because here you see how with Dow we have a nice drop and then a continuation. I wonder if we get into this and it bounces, if that's going to bounce NASDAQ up to here. Because right now, we're kind of getting a little bit of a breathing room. I wouldn't say it's very insignificant. We're not getting that bearish momentum. They move together, no? Oil and indices? Why? I'm like, why would they move together? Why yes, why no? I don't necessarily, I at least have never studied correlation between oil and NASDAQ. Maybe. but I'm not really too familiar with it, if there is one. He said if inflation were to get raised, would Powell be forced to cut? Yeah, so, I mean, not anything new, really. Things this I've heard him. Haven't heard him. I'm not watching him like that, but yeah, things have been said. Nas leaving equal highs. Right now. Oh, like on the 1 minute. Yeah, maybe. Honestly, we might get this mitigation. Let's see if Dow wants to give the next drop and make this into an epic distribution. That would be fantastic. Going into the small time frames here, the 1 minute, this definitely is not a good sign. This is not giving the most convincing price action. It's still possible, but that here definitely leaving some liquidity, and that's just with the micros. Let's see what slightly better on just NQ. So now we're about 5 minutes away from that new hourly candle. Typically, we get some pretty good momentum with that new hourly candle. We get some good movement, which either can be in our favor or it just hits the risk that we have already set in place, which is not a big deal. And so, I mean, right now it looks like it's getting back to entry. It's approaching entry, and Nas is actually starting to lead the move down instead of being just kind of lagging behind Dow in general. So this is a better sign. And then if you are, let's say, under the belief that this can continue to go in your favor, then fantastic. If, let's say, you, for whatever reasons, your technique, your trade management is telling you, hey, this is no longer valid, then manage it that way. But right now, my reminder for you is follow whatever your system says. If you have a specific trade management rule you need to follow that. All right, now we're getting a pretty good reversal here, right? Coming back into this place, into this area, where at least I'm back in profit, barely. And then now it's starting to break through. So with something like this kind of movement, this is where, cool, I'm down to just give myself, lose a little bit less if that's going to be the case. This is pushing down initially first, so I do like that better as well. And actually, because of how we're seeing a little bit of structure here, I would even go ahead and just give myself this right there. This way, reducing my risk, which I feel better about. And then if it keeps going through, then that's also fantastic. So now I'm not losing a 1R, I'm losing like a 0.8R. So it's less, and I like that. But this has basically, I'd say, mitigated. So does the market owe us bigger movement? This is kind of the minimum of what I would expect. So this could also be, and for some people, that's actually an exit rule. You go, okay, it's mitigated the minimums here. We saw the buy turn now into a sell. Let me call it a day. And so that's just, an example here. All right, so now we're seeing a bit more of a bullish move. Maybe we get a little bit of a rebalance before the market continues, or that's it. That's all there was. That's all she wrote. Let's see it. And like I said, us going into a new hour here usually brings in some sort of momentum. There's not a fundamentals. There's not a news event that would necessarily do it right now. But the news event could just be Trump dropping some sort of, something, anything, saying literally anything. Could do that. How are you guys managing this trade? Is anyone maybe de-risking a little bit, or are you letting it ride? That's it. Did you drop your risk a little bit? Did you partial? President Trump is considering selling or giving away the red Tesla that he purchased earlier this year. Sick. So that's a little bit more news. That could drop NQ, considering the narrative there with, the president doesn't believe in Tesla. Short it. So yeah, I wonder. And that was like literally a minute ago. All right. Let's see how this rolls through. One of the things that if we can kind of keep trading down here, then this is we're kind of seeing that there's not too much demand over here, which could lead to the drop that we would want to see over into this range, into NFP pump here. So we'll see. But the fact that we're just actually losing a lot of momentum going into this, I don't love that. I think all we got was the mitigation, and then we might end up just pushing back up to here. But at the end of the day, I'm actually totally fine with that because I've already lowered my risk with this, and this is what it's looking like. So about 10 seconds out for this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually set my sell limit right there. In case we get some good Momo. Then we see it run through. Let's see if this holds up. And look how this is just playing structure right now. Really nicely. Let's see it. Right now, rebalancing nicely. Okay. You can melt. You have all
order submitted.
My permission. NQ, proceed. The thing too is, since we've already seen the market kind of fill this in balance, if this were to break through, it's likely to then want to target these lows over here. I don't know if it's gonna. Looking like a decent shot. Dow here. Maybe we want to break through. All this talk just to be slightly in drawdown. Trading is a funny activity. We're fishing here, right? Basically. All right. Let's see. No plans for Trump call with Musk today. Okay. Got it. Slowly but surely, folks. Slowly but surely. Now, one of the things where we consider like just decision making and everything as you're trading is not making decisions just because you're bored. Not making decisions just because you're like, you want to just, like you want to feel something. I just want to feel something. So we've been around here for, like, for example, in this trade for what, 30 plus minutes. It's probably felt like 30 days. We just do nothing. Just let it do it. We managed a little bit, reduce stop by 20 points, which is good. Saved ourselves a little bit of money. And I'm cool with that. Let's see. Let's see if we get some more demand here. I'm like mind-blown that we've actually been in this tiny zone for so long. Who gets uncomfortable with being in the same area for a super long time? Is anyone here just like, oh man, like I just don't like trading in these types of environments? Maybe you lose faith in your trade. So I look nice little pullback there. Let's break below this, yeah? I think it's a good idea. I feel like the market should be more open-minded to our suggestions. It's just not as coachable, and I think we really need it to be. Nas melting. This is not a Nas melt. Come on. We up. Barely. Or at some point. Maybe you're up. I'm at 2 risky trades, UJ and Nas. Why are they risky? Took TP to reach break even, waiting for a possible higher zone. Okay, cool. Good to see. Real raw trading. Bless, man. Thank you. She does look like she wants to mount. Would be nice. And remember, we've been basically just moving sideways for very minimally for a good amount of time. So if this does decide to kind of break through, I feel like it would just be we'd get the big move. So our ROI kind of just makes sense. I got stopped out and felt the urge to re-enter, but stopped myself. That's good. That's good. Really good. Stopping that emotional impulse is so important. Keep practicing that. That's a win. I don't mind the consolidation areas because from what I've learned, that means a breakout has to come eventually, and whether win or lose, I'll get the information I want from patient. Exactly. We actually got a good discount price on that field. Yeah. If I would have been a bit more conservative, then I obviously would have used less contracts and had a way wider stop. I think directionally, I think we're on the right path. Where I'm curious about is if this stop is gonna make it or not. That's really my only point of curiosity. Is this stop okay? Because otherwise, I could see us just kind of getting tagged out and then the market runs. But at this point, it's fine. Like this kind of squeeze sometimes does a push up and then it comes down. Or it just will come down, and that would be ideal for me. But, so yeah, we'll kind of see. That's why I already have the higher time frame set up. Because if it is going to just, for example, if we're just going to sweep and then drop, I would rather just have a better entry than have to deal with all of this. But as always, there's a chance that it just makes the move anyways. ES 5-minute inversion. All right, you heard it there, folks. Kevo's got an ES 5-minute inversion. So you're shorting, I'm assuming. Yeah. So I like it. I want to see this one. I'm actually going to give myself a little bit. I'm going to go back to here in case we get a nice little crack through some of this liquidity. We're kind of seeing a little trend line liquidity build out here. It may or may not sweep it, but, well, come on, move along. Yeah, kind of seeing this building up like that. So I'm curious if we end up sweeping here and then making the move. If that's the case, then I don't want to get tagged out just by a couple points just for this thing to then melt. So I'm cool with keeping it up there. And then same thing, looking at Dow here, squeezing, moving sideways for the last 15 minutes, just about. Big movement, probably likely to happen. So whether it pushes up, then drops, or just drops. And then Kevo here, I believe, is taking a short on Dow. So seeing if it makes that move to the downside. If we do get this sweep to the upside and then the move to the downside after. I'm curious to see if it would only play into this imbalance and then drop, or if it's going to play into this structure overall. Like if we get back up to where we saw this last little poke above and then it drops, or if this is all it's going to do. Because that's what would be the most annoying for me, would be for this to get just into this imbalance and then tank. That would be salty. All right. So we're starting to see it pushing a little bit above the squeeze. I was in sell from the first zone when I saw sell absorption on the 5-minute close. I closed a sell and took a buy, hit a 2R on the impulse up, took my bag and ran. I'm happy for you, Stanley. Well done. Well done, good sir. Trading your system as you should. I think overall, so macro wise, I'm still really I like the shorts, just considering how just Dow went straight and cleared daily levels. So at this point, I feel good on the overall direction. It's just whether I'm gonna take a hit first before I get the second entry. So we'll see. Like I said earlier, that's kind of the feeling that I'm getting. But right now, seeing Dow squeeze, I'm curious if it goes up a little more, kind of just break out of here and then make its move. We just got to sit through all this right now. So I want to stretch. Been sitting here for like 2 hours. It's not good for the body, you know? Body needs to move. You need movement in your life. How's that looking, Kevo? All right, starting to make some moves. All right, let's go. Come on now. Will this break through, or are we going to see more of this shit? All right. More liquidity building, or is this finally our moment? Oh, come on. There we go. Beautiful. This is what we like to see. Okay, Dow making the drop. Here's the thing, though. Now we need to see Dow break through this, though. Because if this is just going to bounce, then this is going to send this up again. So now we're seeing better volatility with Dow dropping faster, more aggressive. You can look at the difference in price action between Nas and Dow here. Let's see it roll through. So like I mentioned, I wanted to see this break. Now we could get a bounce. How far does that take us is the question. So I saw a little move down. This is about like a 60-point drop. So could we see Dow bounce here? Give us, something, maybe an imbalance fill. And then do we continue? How was your run this morning? It was good. Because of NFP, I needed to be ready here a little bit earlier, so only ran like a 5K this morning. Didn't get the amount that I wanted, but ran with some pace, All right. So I mean, here's the plus side of just being in all of this like this is that this squeeze is going to lead to some nice movement, whether it's with us or against us, but like it just creates a good RR scenario. So my thoughts right now, where I'll take some money off the table, is going to be where the imbalance and the prior structure meet. So if this goes in our favor, then this is going to be where I'll take some money off. So like, for example, here, this is what I'll have, not 2, 1. So this is where I'd take some off the table. Right here, structure imbalance, looks good. That's only if we end up getting here, which again, gotta be, can't be under assumptions with any part of this. Only a 5K man ran a mini marathon. Nah, life 5K today is easy. It is crazy. Nothing's crazy. It's just whatever we make normal or not in our lives, Nothing is crazy. Like, saying that things are crazy is what keeps it crazy. That's it. All right, so typical, as I mentioned, we could see the bounce out of here. This is what I wanted us to see if we were going to really make the move or not. Now that we're getting like a 50, 60 point pump from here, let's see if we can work our way down and clear this imbalance. Like I said, this was going to be the test. So if we have very minimal time under here, then we can see another move down. So I expected us to get a bounce from here. Now the question is, do we have enough to work our way down? Did you put your stop loss at the high? Right here. It was originally here. I just narrowed it down a little bit right now. Like, just dropped it to this previous high here. Ran 4 miles this morning. Hey, Stanley, it's not a competition, man. Nah, man, good stuff. Got to stay healthy. Look at this. Ooh, Dow moving nice. This is good. We want minimal time up here. Bring this thing down. This should look good for us as well. If anyone took Kevo's S inversion trade, then I do believe that you're getting some good momentum. So now that we've seen the rejection from Dow here, this is fantastic. So now that we've seen it play out of this zone, this now should, my opinion, we should be able to crack below all this, because now we already got this mitigation. We already got this move here. We should be able to kind of bleed through and work our way. Noticing the price action earlier, the best move, I guess, would have been to take our exit on NAS and maybe play the more bearish price action that was over here. And the fact that we're still trading up here with NASDAQ, despite Dow Jones being over here now, I don't like that at all. At all. That's not a good sign. You said going with 1 mile, trying to work my way up. I mean, that's the best way to do it. Like incremental, just little by little. It gets easier and easier and easier and easier and easier. 1 mile, next day, 1.1, 1.2. That's what I did. Just like every day, just a little bit more. Your body gets used to it. You get used to it. Solid. So with this, ideally, we can, like, let's say we'll just get the drop, and then it just pushes the whole thing anyways, and we all survive. That's what I hope happens. But y'all know how it goes with hope. It's dangerous. Hope is dangerous. Yeah, that plus what I threw away last night will make it easier. Looking to possibly hedge GU short-term plays though. Cool. So this is kind of nice to witness, or at least give maybe more confidence in the trade. We're seeing Dow start to pull up quite a bit, and Q just kind of sit here bearish. So that, in my opinion, is a good sign. So if we get another push down with Dow, I think that'll push NQ really well as well. But ideally, we get we get Dow to drop so that can happen. The funny thing is, like, you just have to like sit through nothingness, and not get in your own way, which is usually the problem. So as long as you don't get in your own way, then things can do what they need to do. And at this time, like, if you can manage mobile, you know, take me on the go. So what I'll do here is this. I'm going to zoom out some more. And then I have two specific targets in mind. And they are the following. Something's... All right, here we go. So my targets are the following. First one, where NFP imbalance and prior high is set. That's my first zone. The second one is going to be below the London session lows. So sweeping this liquidity here is going to be my target. So somewhere like right over here. I'm just going to actually just place it here. So these are the targets for me. Now you guys have a general idea of what I'm going to be doing here. I think that if we end up getting Dow to work its way down and, you know, just fill some of this imbalance, maybe even get into just NFP's imbalance later on, which I wouldn't say is necessarily ambitious. It's just like we've already been here today. Why not be back? Then since Dow is kind of struggling to drop as much, by the time it gets here, then it might be especially cracking below New York Open lows. So New York Open lows would be for sure like just kind of, I would be assessing where the market is overall if we get down there, and then getting into these NFP imbalance would be the other position to just be aware of and have some mindfulness with, for sure. So I guess some good signs is right now we're seeing Dow range actually pretty bullish the last 5 minutes. NASDAQ kind of holding up its structure decently. So now we just see if the squeeze is in our favor or not. And then in the case that this pushes up higher before it drops, then my other entry would be up here. All right, so my other entry would be up here with my stop above the high. So it would be like something like this. But we may not need that one. Cool. Guys, we did officially 2 hours on stream since NFP, before NFP opened. So appreciate you guys. If y'all can just like the stream, subscribe, join the free community. Obviously, we're doing this live. We're going through sessions. We do special sessions just for people in the community as well. So click that link to join the community. It's pinned at the top. Is there specific videos in which you explain entries on order blocks? It's in the Smart Money Playbook. If you want to go through that one, it's in there. And then it's in the Smart Money Playbook PDF as well. But yeah, this one was based off of, it was basically a pump. Like you see a big buy before it dropped. Right now, good news for everyone. We are back in profit. And let's see if it's going to break through this liquidity. It built up a lot of retail buys here. And these trending, kind of like you see this trend line here building up. So typical liquidity buildups here. And it's kind of starting to make its move first with NQ. So signs are decent here. I'm still going to give myself a little bit of space just in case we want to come up and take out some of this sideways movement before it makes its run. So I'm going to just leave it like that. I would prefer that over anything. So what's up with that? Interesting. All right. Well, cool. Guys, catch you on the next one. We'll be live soon. Peace.